It is looking very much like Graham Platner will not continue as the Democratic candidate in Maine. A lot of news back and forth on that today. But I mean, the allegations as of now have reached the point where Joe, I mean, most of his key endorsers have sort of dropped out now, right? We're kind of done.
Yeah, Ro Khanna, Elizabeth Warren, even Bernie Sanders, all three of them, Ruben Gallegos, they're all saying get out. Look, when you have that firepower in the party, regardless of wings or anything, but when your top supporters that high up are bailing on you, and also Schumer, of course, has already announced that if he's on the ballot, the Democratic Senate Campaign Committee will not be spending any money in Maine. So, it's hard to see how he can hang on.
It's done. Once again, Susan Collins escapes accountability.
I thought it was really interesting that our friend Dan Barkoff of Veterans for Responsible Leadership, which, by the way, if everybody out there isn't familiar with it, you should go to Veterans for Responsible Leadership website. Incredible group.
Great group.
Dan drove to Maine to meet with Platner a few weeks ago and wrote, I thought, a very powerful, interesting piece that reflected his experience as a combat veteran and Platner's experience as a combat veteran, saying, look, I was 23, the Battle of Fallujah. We gave ourselves some sort of plaque. We misspelled Fallujah. So, don't hold everybody responsible for crazy shit. We had hats that said something like predators, right? We didn't know what it meant. And then after this came out yesterday, he wrote a follow-up piece that said basically, fuck you, get out.
Yeah. That's what I think is which writ large across the spectrum. That's, from Barkoff all the way over to Bernie now.
Yeah. Well, I wrote a piece a couple of weeks ago saying he was hard to kill because that first accusation, the woman that made the first accusation, not of any kind of violence, just that he was a bad boyfriend, was also the head of Women for Kavanaugh, which the irony was abundant. But this has crossed a different line, I think, and it goes back to that rule, Stuart, that we all learn in Republican world. The hardest oppo research to do is on yourself. Yeah. So
that's why I never ran. But
but he has till Monday to get out. We'll see what he does. But there is a drop dead day. Part one, and it'll be Monday the 13th, I think.
Yeah.